Hello, and welcome to another weekly reading. And here we have a lot of feathers, this very calming, grounding, balancing oil, some sandalwood oil also to ground us and hold us down, and some adaptive, which is also a calming and de-stressy blend. So definitely you can see all the airiness and the need to land and come down to earth this week. We have today, being the Monday of the week I'm reading for, being Mercury stepping into his own sign of Gemini, where the Gemini energy is going to up level, which is already pretty up leveled. So it's going to the next level of the up leveling. We also have Venus Kazemi, which means she's going to come right in contact with the sun. She's invisible in the sky at the moment, and that is a powerful portal in Gemini. We still have Jupiter in Gemini, which we'll have for quite some time, and we have the new moon in Gemini this week on the 6th. So it's a very Gemini week. What I would say, especially because I've already drawn the cards, is that this is an opportunity for us to look at where Gemini gets too much for us, and that will depend on you and your chart. And with that, to take some note of some of the messages we get today. Remember to choose a number between 1 and 4 to get your sort of slightly more personal spin on this reading. This is a collective reading, but the card you pick will give you a more of a focal point. And I appreciate all the likes, shares, follows, subscribes. They really do help me to keep going, doing what I'm doing. And let's jump in and see what we see. Right, as you can see, this is a very swordsy week, and swords is air. You just can't make this up, right? And all upside down as well. And that for me is definitely a like, whoa, too much air, too much blowing, gusts, I don't know which way I'm going. It's intense, it's all over the place, it's scattered, and air does scatter. That is kind of the very nature of air. It's meant to spread seeds, and it's meant to blow away that which has gotten stagnant and stuffy. So there's a usefulness to it, but it also obviously can be too much. So with such a lot of energy in Gemini, it's intense. As a Gemini, with Sun and Venus in Gemini, who are both in Gemini right now, I can feel this intensity exacerbating what I already have in my blueprint, for good and in the challenge aspect of that as well. So this is where you get to look at your chart and say, okay, or if you don't understand anything about astrology, just look at yourself and ask yourself, where am I very airy, very much in my head, very analytical, very thinky? Where does this become problematic? And that's because we've got the ace, and we've got the 2, and we've got the 8 of swords, all upside down. So aces are beautiful new beginning cards, but this one, there is a resistance. There is an overwhelm. There is an analysis paralysis happening. We are up in our head. We are going round and round and round the same circle, but we're not changing anything in the way we're thinking about it. We're not getting a new perspective. Obviously, we ideally want to turn that around. And when it's the right way around, you can see that it's kind of like she is spiraling upwards with that energy, and she is focusing forwards and upwards and allowing herself to kind of stay quite calm. Notice how she's kind of got this meditative face going, eyes closed, tuning in, slowing down, facing forwards. When it's upside down, she's facing backwards, and she's spiraling down. So she's kind of going into decline with her thinking. So we really need to look at, where am I getting stuck on that hamster wheel and not making any forward progress? And this is very, as I say, a beautiful opportunity to see the patterns in the way you think and the stories you tell. Mostly the stories you tell yourself, but also the words that you speak. So think about, how are you spelling something? Spelling, as in spelling the words, but that is a spell. The words that you put out become what manifests for you. That is the magic of intention. So, and this is a new moon week. New moon is when we set the seeds of intention. So you want to get really good with your energetic housekeeping right now and your mental hygiene, and look at the patterns that are no longer serving you. I'm going to come back to our Three of Wands in a moment, but I just want to jump here to the 2 because it literally is the next card in line from the Ace of Swords, and it is a choice point. Anytime we hit a 2, we're in a choice point. You can see she is blindfolded, so she cannot see. When she's upright, she's looking backwards. So let's just do this for a moment. And you can see that if we did this in order upright, we would see the ace going, okay, I need to slow down. I need to tune in. I need to listen to my higher self, my inner knowing. And you see the illuminated light that's coming down, illuminating the answers. And there's a calmness in her. Neither of them can see physically. This is about tuning inwards. But when we get to this one, she's blindfolded and she's looking at the ace like, well, what did you think we should do? And how do we move forward from there? She's looking more back to the past. And it's like the ace brings the new insights and new beginnings and initiations. And at the 2, we go, I don't know. Can I actually do that? Am I able? Is that the right choice? Maybe I'll stay where I am on the path that I know. This is more comfortable for me, the known rather than the unknown. But there's a sands of time feeling here where she has to make a choice. She cannot stay in the situation the way that it was, and she needs to make a choice. And in this deck, ravens or crows are unpicking a lot of the thinking. So again, there they are, and they might seem negative, but they're actually very intuitive and magical and alchemical kind of birds. So they are helping her to unpick some of the old thinking so she can make an informed and healthy decision. But of course, we've gotten it upside down, which is saying, I'm struggling to make that informed and healthy decision. I can't trust in my judgment right now. What if I should do this? What if I must do that? What if this happens? What if that happens? So there's analysis paralysis. Again, there's a resistance to just stepping forward, which again, we can see from the excess of Gemini energy right now. So I'm going to carry on with my air conversation before we go to the sort of saving grace maybe, or the solution in some ways to the situation, and that is the 8 of Swords, also coming upside down. Also, we're going to look at it upright first. So you can see that the person in real time is sort of sitting in front of a mirror, feeling a little overwhelmed, holding her hands up to her throat, but her eyes are open and she's not bound, versus the image of herself in the mirror, the person that she sees, bound by old thinking. The crows are trying to untie her. Look at that. I mean, there they are again. Black thread of her hair here, white thread there. And that's like, let's find the hope. Let's find the healing. Let's find the new beginnings. You don't need to be in this self-imposed prison of your mind. And each of us has these stories, these inner narratives that nobody sees the battles that we fight in our heads. Nobody hears the way we speak to ourselves when our inner critic is going at us. These are the things that we can hide. We can put on a smile. We can look absolutely fine to the naked eye. But inside of us, there are all these battles and bindings that we are trying to overcome. Again, this is a really good week. For me, what it feels like this week is going to do is show us. This is where you do that. This is how you do that. And that gives us an opportunity, if we can bring it into our consciousness, that gives us an opportunity to begin to change it. I don't feel like it's going to be comfortable because the cards are all upside down. So that means that we're going to feel this in an intense way. We're going to feel self-sabotaging. We're going to feel the inner critic. We're going to see where we hit our mental blocks, where we come up against the same way of thinking and speaking and being and storying and spelling our lives. And then when we see it, we have the opportunity to say, hang on, I have been accepting this as a minimum standard for my life and no more. I am changing the way I think. I am changing the way I speak. I am changing the way I listen. I am allowing my seeds to blow without trying to control them, because I don't know where they'll land, but where they land is exactly where they need to land. Now, this really brings us to the beautiful 3 of Wands card, which is a fire card. And remember that fire and air are both yang or more masculine elements. So they support one another, they get on with one another. So we don't have a lot of femininity in this reading or yin energy. So you might need to temper this week with finding a few softer practices that are more yin, like enjoying a bath or a swim or a mindful shower, like where you don't just get in the shower to get clean. You close your eyes, take some deep breaths, feel the water, connect to the rhythm of the water, the flow, or go outside in nature, get grounded, connect to the element of earth. Those are the elements that are more yin. So I don't want this video to get too long, but think about how you can try to temper some of the yang energy that we're feeling with some yin. But in the meantime, because this is a fire card, the Three of Wands, it is supportive of the air. Because it's upright versus 3 upside down airs, it is supportive of giving a tool to turn the air around. So Three of Wands is one of the calm fire cards. Fire tends to be quirky and well, maybe quirky is not the right word, passionate and enthusiastic and energized and exuberant and dynamic. And this is a particular fire that says, right, the passion is there, it's smoldering, it's waiting. You don't always have to be a forest fire. You don't even always have to put more logs and make that campfire bigger and bigger and bigger. This is a time to wait for the set to come in. Wait for the ships to come in. Recognize the work that you've done, the creativity, the passion, all the things you've invested into X, Y, and Z. That can be a specific project. That can be just life in general. And now is the time to patiently wait by the fires whilst whatever you have intended, whatever you have set out to manifest is coming to you. Allow yourself to attract that. And for me, that is a very big nod to the Venus Cazimi, because Venus is the great attractor. She's exceptionally powerful when she is right inside the heart of the sun. And that means that this is an opportunity to stop, although that's happening in an air sign. I just do want to point that out. But it's almost like that pause point. So instead of being all gusty, it's the eye of the storm. Be in the stillness, be with the warmth, be with your creative aspects. Think outside of the box, because the thinking you've been doing is no longer working. We've got to recognize those patterns, and then allow yourself to trust that what is meant for you will never pass you by. So I definitely think gazing into a flame or lighting a fire or some connection to heat would be really good for you as well. Do you know what's coming through for me as a really good tool this week that's going to tap all those elements is doing a aromatherapy steam. So you would have the water and the oils, which would be the earth and the water element. You would have the steam rising up that you would have to deeply inhale, which would bring in a calming to the air element. And then you would have the fire from the heat in the water. That would be a really good balancing exercise. If you've never done a steam, I would recommend it. And I would definitely add the aromatherapy. But be mindful if you don't know what you're doing. I do have a course on Udemy, or just message below on this video. Thank you very much for your time. Have a beautiful week, and take this as a gift of seeing some of the patterns that maybe have been hidden from you until now.